Welcome to another broadcast of the Debra Rufini Show on the ArtistFirst Radio Network. All past shows are archived. You can find them at ArtistFirst.com. And now, from England, here she is, your host, Debra Rufini.
Greetings from England. This is Debra Rufini with the Debra Rufini Show. As this is a Valentine's Day broadcast, I thought it would be fitting to consider self-love, seeing as there are so many unloving and untrustworthy people in the world, sadly. So today I'm speaking with an old college buddy of mine whom I've recently got in contact with, where we'll be discussing something we've both been subject to, narcissistic bullying. A very horrible thing that is there. Melody, great to have you here. How are you doing?
Hi, yeah, great. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. But it's been very rainy, this neck of the woods.
Oh, yep, absolutely torrential rains here. I'm literally sitting in my canoe as we speak.
Oh, yeah.
I have paddles ready just in case I decide to ride a wave. But yes, for now, I'm all ears.
Oh, that is good. No, I'm glad you were. Can I just, to the audience, Melody was a great blessing to me back in our college days. And I don't think I would have got through things without you because you protected me in English class, didn't you, dear?
Oh, yes. Yes, I remember the English class. Those were the days where you walked in the room and you wondered if, you were going to survive till the end. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
You got to love your college friends, or were they your friends?
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Were they? Yeah. Your friends to your face, maybe not to your back.
Yes. Did we fit in? Did we have the right hairdos? Did we have, were we the right size? And if we didn't, we never got spoken to, really. We just sat in the corner and kind of wilted like a flower that was about 3 weeks old.
Yeah. Wasn't it? Yeah, I think the 80s, there was a lot of... do you think there was a lot of pressure to look a certain way? You had to have like a Hazeldine haircut and want to look like Madonna?
Absolutely. I mean, I suppose we're talking, what was it, the 80s? Was it late 80s, wasn't it? Yeah. 80s. And, I can remember perhaps, I wore pretty much the same one top quite a lot of the time. And that was just because it covered all the lumps and bumps. And, I just felt I never fitted in. It was just like the confidence, at that age, I suppose we were 17, 18, and, we were, I guess, the world, we hadn't experienced it.
Yeah.
Back then, I suppose we didn't have all the social media, but I think we still felt the pressure to look away, like you say, like Madonna or, anything of that era. We, if we didn't look like that person, we were really untrendy, and we weren't in the A team. Perhaps we're in the B team or the C team.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
yeah, we were under pressure. I think a lot of the time, definitely.
Yeah. Do you know? I'm often glad now that Facebook didn't exist back then. Aren't you?
No. Yeah. No. I mean, we had none of it, did we? I mean, there was no, I suppose, social medias, your Instagrams, your tweeting. Yes, like you say, your Facebook. It was really, I guess, magazines and TV. That's where the pressure came from. But actually, I think I felt a lot of pressure more in those days from my colleagues. But I guess we got the idea originally from TV and magazines. Obviously, your page 3 with girls in the UK on the Sun, newspaper.
That's right.
So a lot of pressure for women. I think there were, objects still back then. Obviously times are changing now, and things are happening. So yes, I do.
Yeah, actually, no, you're right. I think about sort of like, the page 3 girl was in the Sun, wasn't it? And thinking about sort of things that men were, it would be a complete no-no if they did now, but when I was started in the office, a man wouldn't think twice about whacking one of the secretaries on the bottom or anything.
No, absolutely. It's such a different world, a different culture. I mean, it's changed a lot, I think, for the best, as in, I think people are more protected now. They are more aware of personal space and, but I do think we're up against social media, and that, I haven't looked at it recently. I'm not big on it. I was just amazed to see, what I saw on what the girls are up against, all these beauty channels and, sort of caking on the makeup, and these people are like, you know, getting on reality shows, and you know, all the young girls are following these people. They want to look like them, false eyelashes, and you know, caked on makeup, as it were. You know, so you need a trowel to get it off. You know, kind of, you need a builder's tool maybe at the end of the night. Maybe they have one, I don't know, but hey.
It is, isn't it? You know you're old when you don't know who any of these reality TV stars are. I haven't got a clue. When these celebrity get me out of here sort of programs, I don't know. Who are these people? I don't know.
Yep. Snap, I am exactly the same. Totally ditto. Totally get you there. I have to, you know, Google them. And even then, you know, I don't really watch all of it. Some of it I find quite soul destroying. I think it's Love Island, you know. These beautiful people again. And I've seen many a teenager of, 16, and they rushed home to watch it. And they're under pressure. I mean, I look at all these people on there, and there may be, you know, a UK size, I don't know, 8, 6. You know, so they're, again, a pressure to look that way. And then when they're behaving, the way they behave, I would say, you know, they start the sort of, I suppose, aspects of bullying in that. Yeah. To some degree, you see all the girls bickering about so-and-so went off with so-and-so, and he's seeing her. And again, I sort of look at that, and I think it's really nasty. You know, they're all trying to get each other's partner, and you know, it's just like, well, to me, again, just crazy. I just don't understand it. I think is that how, you know, young men and young girls, you know, are meant to aspire to something like, obviously, Love Island. That's what it's called, isn't it? And it's an English TV program. I'm not sure if it's on in America, but obviously it's about dating. And if you call it dating, I think people can pick who they want to be with. And you know, to be fair, I'm not even 100% certain, because I've never even watched a whole episode all the way through.
Can't blame you. It sounds horrific.
I'd rather watch paint dry. So.
Yeah, I think I'd rather go to the dentist than watch that, really, by the sound of it.
Absolutely, you know. So it's all changed, really, I think, when you look at it, isn't it? The aspect of bullying. I think it's...
I think it has. It's taken on a different form. But you've encountered it in the workplace, in a working environment where you really wouldn't hope to have bullying, haven't you?
Oh, wow. Well, you would think, and I was, funny enough, explaining to my daughter's friend the other day that I picked up after school, and I was saying about what we're doing tonight, and I said, you know, as I was pulling out of the car park, another little girl was walking, sort of, you know, got sort of beside the car, and the other little girl in the car said to me, "Oh, that's so-and-so. Oh, she's not very nice."
Right.
And I said, "Well, how do you know she's not very nice?" I said, "Perhaps it's you know, maybe all of you are ignoring her.
Yeah.
You know, well, she's got her group." I said, "But that doesn't mean to say she's not very nice." I said, "Funny enough, I'm doing a program tonight for, you know, a really old college friend that, you know, I haven't really spoken to for years, and it's so lovely to be in contact."
Yeah.
And I said, some of the, you know, the theme is bullying, aspects of bullying. I said, you think, most probably, you girls will think it will finish in school, but actually it will transfer to the workplace and, you know, further beyond home life. As you know, we're going to discuss, there's all sort of forms of bullying. And, you know, I remember being at school thinking, phew. When I left college, I remember thinking, phew, that's it, no more bullying. Was I wrong? Bam. When I went to work, hello, bullies.
Oh, my goodness.
They're everywhere.
That's horrible. What sort of thing was... So, Melody, you're a nurse, aren't you? Is that okay to...
Yes, yes. I'm a registered nurse in the United Kingdom.
Great.
I am.
You're our heroes. Our nurses are our heroes.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, so you... when was your first encounter with that you were consciously aware of? Well,
let's just say, when I first qualified, I went to work at my local hospital. And it was quite interesting because we were given these sort of little pink slips. And we had to walk around the hospital. And it was almost, I would say, like speed dating. That's the only way I can describe it. Not sure if America has speed dating. But It was basically along that lines. You went around the hospital, and anyone that thought they, might like you and might take you into their department had to sign this piece of paper to say they wanted you.
Wow.
And I went round with my little nurse colleague that we both sort of, qualified together.
Yeah.
And I was watching her get about 10 signatures while I got about 2. So actually, if I think about it, that was my first form of bullying in the job.
It is, isn't it?
But before that, when I went to university to do the course, I actually was followed into the toilets by a girl in our group, and she was with her friend. And for some unknown reason, they took a bit of a dislike to us.
Right.
And my little friend was walking with me, but as I turned round, she must have seen what happened, and she just disappeared. So there I was in the toilets with these 2 girls, and one of them was sort of, I suppose, I don't know if it's a term used in, obviously, America, but squaring me up, standing very sort of in front of me, very sort of intimidating. And the conversation went some sort of bad words, so this is how it's going to be, is it? You're ignoring us. Obviously, I'm meant to be the bad one. And for the first time ever, most probably, I really did stand up. And I said, well, actually, no, I'm not. And we kind of thrashed it out, and it was over something silly. And I stood up to them, and they backed off.
Right.
So that was the first time I would say I'd actually stood up to a bully. But again, obviously, this led on then to the workplace. So it went from college to uni and, to the workplace. So I got a job in accident emergency. I was there for 10 years. And as much as I loved my job and there were some lovely people there, I can tell you now, I spent most probably 10 years looking over my shoulder, waiting to be told off. That's how I thought life was, in a job.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was. Mm-hmm.
That's horrible. It's a horrible feeling having to go into this place. You've got to go. Yeah, you go from school or college into this place. Oh, hang on, like you say, it hasn't ended here. I'm now into this other place. Yeah.
So every time I finish something like a college, or when I went to uni, or you think, oh, that's it. It's over. I'm going to have a normal life.
Yeah.
I'm going to feel comfortable where I work. Oh no, I just then found out that it didn't finish there, and there was there would be particular people in your place of work. I can remember for one instance, I went to the lavatory or to the toilet, not sure what words used.
The bathroom, isn't it? The bathroom.
By the time I'd got back, and of course, I sat on the toilet instead of reading the newspaper. I just played with my Facebook on my phone. And by the time I got back, I was pulled round the corner by a higher person, and they said, "Oh, someone has noticed you've been on Facebook." And I went, "Oh, yes." I said, "I was in the toilet, not standing out, being a nurse." She said, "Yes, okay, I understand that." She said, "But it could be perceived by others as you not doing your job." She said, "I'm just warning you in case someone else really tells you off." And okay, maybe she was helping me out, but it was a bit like, "Oh, thank you very much for that."
Yeah.
Okay then. Yeah. So, I mean, whether that was a form of bullying, I don't really know, but it just felt like it. Maybe I took it wrong. There are times people do tell you things and you can take it wrong. So I guess it's trying, isn't it? That's why I think bullying can be such a grey area, because you can think, is someone bullying me? And if they're that clever, they can do it in such a way that you don't know, but you feel that they're bullying you.
Subtle. And is there a difference between the bossiness and bullying, or just... But it's...
That's interesting, yes, because, I have, I do work with a lady, and I would say most probably, I would call her bossy, yes.
Oh.
At first, I thought, is she bullying me? But I have now, I think, when I see she's doing it to everyone, then I think, well, she's just bossy.
Yeah.
And that's her way. Whether, she should be allowed to be like that, I don't know. She doesn't, I've now got to an age, I think, if you come out the end of bullying and you've come intact with some self-worth, I think you've got a chance of actually not having time for people like that. But it's just sad, like I'm in my 40s now, late 40s, that you have to get of an age like that to feel like I've had enough of this. It's almost like you build up slowly over years this narcissistic exterior. And it's not to say that inside sometimes you could be dying. You know, you're thinking, I really don't like this person. They're really making me feel small.
Yeah.
But you have a better way of dealing with it, as in you don't let them know. Because I think that's another thing that bullies like. They do enjoy, as most, they enjoy making you feel rather rubbish about yourself. So.
Yeah, no, they do, don't they? It's almost like it's a rush for them, isn't it? If they can bring you down.
Yep, absolutely. There's sort of, I think I read somewhere, it's something like 11 stages or something that bullies will put you through. And I'm pretty sure, that's one of them, that they will they'll sort of put you down and make you feel sort of, very inferior. They'll tell other people, that you're a liar or you're crazy. They want to get other people on their side as well, because it's like, I think the pack thing, like a wolf pack, safety in numbers, isn't it? Or divide and conquer. But if they've got a group, I think as well, if they've got a good, what they would think is a good group, but obviously it's not a good group, it's likely to be very, very, very weak people.
Yes.
I think they, that can't stand up to bullies, they will hang around with these bullies. So, yeah.
And I think with bullies or narcissists, a mixture of both, they tend to have, rather than friends, they tend to have people that suck up to them. They tend to have followers, don't they, rather than friends, I think.
Absolutely. And there could be different reasons, like take, for instance, my previous relationship, that I would say, obviously, if you were to read up on it, what I experienced was, I was with a narcissist. What type? I'm not really sure. I know there's 4 types, and perhaps we can go into that at some point. But, he was, so he was, I'm trying to think. So, yeah, he had sort of a view, most probably, that he would sort of make me feel like things were my problem, like I'd created them, like I wasn't imagining them. So again, I would say that was like a verbal abuse, most probably. But he would do it again in a subtle way that you didn't know. You started to believe, that what he was saying was true. I kind of could relate it to, like, perhaps my sister once saying to me, like, a particular, a bully could take your eyeballs out and put marbles in and make you think you could see out of them.
Wow, that's good.
I really do think that was quite a good description.
That is really good. Yeah. That's very good, isn't it? Very powerful. Yeah, they just they just have to take control. And so, what was your maybe there are a few, but what was your first red flag in the beginning of your relationship?
Yeah,
where you thought,
first red flag. Well, wow. Well, I don't know. I should have seen it, and this is like blatant. You'll most probably think, well, why didn't you run then?
No.
I went out for a night with a friend, and so it was very early stages of the relationship, and this particular friend was a male friend, and I guess some men can get funny about that. So I went. I told the smallest white lie, and I said I was going to bed very early on in the relationship. I just thought it was too much hassle. I wouldn't have said to me, like, I've got a male mate, a male friend called Paul, and at some point, but it was early on. I didn't have to explain myself. And,
of course,
maybe I should have said I was going out, but that's another story. Yeah. But literally, I was the place I was going to. He turned up and tapped me on the shoulder. And, of course, I told him I've gone to bed, so he must have been waiting up the end of the road. And I said to him, what are you doing here? And he went, he said, I was driving past and I felt compelled to come in.
Right.
I went, are you joking me? I said, you must have been sitting at the top of the road. He went, no, I felt compelled to come in. And he would not budge on this. I said, just own up. I'm not going to laugh. I'm not going to judge you. Just own up. I said, obviously, you're not going to get this kind of like, I don't know, Twilight Zone moment, and you'd be driving past and then see this beam of light, Mel's in there, I better go in there. But he would not. He absolutely dug his feet in and said, those were his words. He didn't own up to sitting at the end of the road at all, but I'm sure that's what he did.
That's crazy. And that's another thing, isn't it? Their lies are so surreal that I don't know whether they think they're just so influential over everyone, or if I've said it, they're going to believe it, or whether they just think we're so stupid. We were born yesterday.
Well, they have self-importance as well, as we know. I mean, this goes in the narcissistic traits. I think, obviously, as this topic is going, as we're speaking, but I think both, I'm sure you'll agree that the narcissist and the bullying, it all goes together. Yeah. So, I think these are traits, but for everyone, I think that meets a narcissist, stroke bully, unfortunately, they're so blooming good at what they do, is that you've almost changed your life, or not changed for them, because no one should change completely for someone else. You should complement each other, but your life has changed, and you've got used to this person, and they've become part of your life. And perhaps, depending on what type of soul you are, if you're perhaps an empath, as I feel I am, and I feel you are, I think most probably, if you're that kind of soul, you want to believe the best in someone all the time.
Yes,
it's
that's
almost
it.
Like you go, oh, well, maybe they're like that because this happened to them, or maybe they don't feel important, and they feel such a low self-esteem about themselves that they have to lie, and it's poor them, they must have really suffered, or what happened to them to get like this. Obviously, again, another topic in there. We may touch on, hopefully, if we don't, we get a chance.
Yeah, we could do that.
It gets
Part
deep,
2.
doesn't it, all of this? Then it goes into psychology, as we know.
It does. And isn't it a shame that this whole topic is about someone's evil?
Am I allowed, obviously we're asking me questions, but how about you? I mean, obviously, I know you've had some experience as well.
Yeah, I mean, it just leaves you feeling very confused. I mean, I dated someone back in from 2014, and she was a teacher, and she was
position of trust.
Exactly, yeah. And it makes you wonder if some teachers go into that profession purely to bully, to bully these little people that's in their care.
Well, my daughter comes home and she says she's being told off, not to change the subject, got to come straight back, but she says she's been told off because she popped into the school at break time to, I don't know, get something out of her bag. It could be anything that she needs, for a young girl. And she gets, a behavioural point. And I'm like, oh, really?
That's crazy.
I think you're right. Like you say about your ex, maybe it was because it was a position of, some sort of power, isn't it? They've got smaller people. They have to do as they're told, in theory, don't they?
Yeah, they can't relate to adults probably. But it was really interesting because when it finished, and it'll be things like being bossy just for the sake of it. So, she'd eat a sandwich inside her car, but I had to eat mine in the pouring rain just because she could do that. It's just her rule. So you got But when it finished, I did a really interesting thing.
Did you throw a tomato on the floor of her car?
Damn! I need to get back with her just to do that.
Oh, well, do you know, I hope that you should have bought a prawn sandwich and tucked them underneath the car mat. Now I'm starting to look like some sort of nutter, but,
that's
what some of this drives you to.
But you know what I did? I Googled her and her school. And I thought, I'm just intrigued to know what comes up. And there was a forum called Rate My Teacher. Are you familiar with this?
I've heard of Rate My Teacher, yes.
Have you?
I have, yes.
Well, I looked at this under Miss... I won't mention her name. I can think of a few names for her. But
under Patient X. We'll turn them into a patient because obviously they need admitting somewhere.
Yeah, that's right.
That's cruel, I know.
But I read all these kids comment, and so this was a senior school art teacher, and I was really heartbroken, Melody, to see they were saying things like, "I'm constantly critical. What is the point in me doing my work? That she's always criticising it, reduces my confidence by miles." And I just thought, I want to just reach out to these poor kids. Because they're going to take that into adulthood, and I was in my 40s to I was a woman who could know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
Well, as best as I could.
Well, teachers are role models. You know, children, your first kind of sort of recognition and you know, first experience of life. You know, you spend, you know, you don't remember much from maybe 1 to 5, really, but you remember school, and you always remember those teachers that inspired you, and you remember the ones that you know, didn't even put your, I don't know, hands on the desk in case maybe perhaps they'd whack you if they could get to you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the slipper had finished by then and the cane, but you still wondered if they might have one hidden.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I know. It's but also they were as much use as a chocolate teapot back then, weren't they? I mean, I think they didn't know how to cope.
No.
They were bullies themselves, a lot of them, but they didn't know how to cope with the bullies.
Totally agree. I mean, but the Rate My Teacher, wow. I mean, if you've seen this, I would want to just, and you know, I think a teacher to me has got to be someone who inspires you. And I watched a teacher once, I watched a teacher once, there was a little child saying, the little child kept asking questions. And the lesson, it was in a quiet spot, and the teacher kept saying, shush a minute, or something like that. I'm not sure they're quite allowed to say that, but, you know, please be quiet. That's the politically correct saying. Yeah. And I thought, you know, if any child asks a question, no question should be silly. And every question, if they can't answer, I would have said, I'm going to get to that question in a minute. You save that in your head and I'll come back to it. Because if you tell them no enough, they won't ask questions anymore. And how are they meant to learn, you know?
That's it. That's a good point. Yeah. That's if you're too fearful to, you know, mention that.
So she was on Rate My Teacher then, Patient X.
Patient X, she was Rate My Teacher. And I felt like adding a comment like, oh, how can I log in at this? I wasn't allowed to eat a sandwich in her car.
I bet that must have been really difficult for you. I'd have been like, I'm a parent and I really don't agree with your teaching skills, but I suppose realistically, you're not allowed to do that because obviously, you know, that's telling lies and, you know, being the good soul that we are, we don't do that. So, because honesty is the best policy, because that's another thing bullies and narcissists like to do is lies. And I always say lies ruin lives. Yeah. So, you know, if there's anyone listening right now and you've got a great big lie, I think you need to tell someone, you need to let it out, because if you carry on living that lie, it just ruins lives.
Yeah. It does. It has a domino effect, and it's and also it's the whole feeling of the betrayal and the shock when we think we've known someone and you know, and we clearly haven't.
Definitely, you know, it's like I don't even know. I'm not even sure. I sometimes thought it's isolated the area, because the area I'm living now, I've only been here 20 years, and I don't remember so much. Yeah, I remember we had bullying, obviously, when I was, you know, back down your way, and I remember we had bullying, but you know, I just don't know. I you know, maybe I think I forgot a lot of it. I'm pretty sure it hasn't changed, and it's not an area. I'm pretty sure it's just the same wherever you go. There's always going to be that one person, isn't there, that will lie to you, cheat on you, and it could be it could be anyone, like a person in a position of trust, like a teacher, you know, like your partner, like a work colleague, and it's the shock, like you say, you know, and I don't think these people realise, you know, the effect. It's like the ripple effect, you know. Whereas for me, my ex did all the lies, but didn't just lie to me. When I finally let him into my daughter's life, you know, she's 14, she was 13, a bit younger than that, you know, believed everything he said. And you know, he broke her little heart. He was making all these lies that he couldn't keep. And I could understand him. I mean, as an adult, right? I thought, yes, okay, go for it. I'm an adult, you know, big girls and boys playground. But to a teenager, you know, a young lady,
awful.
You know, you don't bring children into it. I mean, you shouldn't lie in the first place. You shouldn't treat other people any other way than you want to be treated. Yeah. You know, and so
like you said,
the shock, the evil that comes, doesn't it? And that makes you very bitter and very angry, and that can make you do silly things when you're on the other end.
It can. Yeah, and then you can have yourself questioning if you're the bully, you're the narcissist, but it's only because they've provoked you to...
Absolutely. And you know, when you sent me that message, obviously I hadn't heard from you for a long, long time.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just I've been getting over, obviously, what's just happened and the breakup. And, you know, life goes on. you know, it is a big thing when it happens in people's lives, I know. But I guess if we want to put it in perspective, being a nurse or fighting for another day in the world, they're most probably not even thinking about, you know, these sort of things. But they're relative when it's happening to you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, but you know, basically, I'm trying to think where I was going on that. I've forgotten.
Yeah. No, just
there's always
the
one.
betrayal.
It just goes to prove that this is not scripted.
Do you know, this isn't actually our age. Do you know what this is happening, Hunt? It's the fact that they get us so confused, and we can end up going off on one tangent and then think, hang on a minute, there's another part to this.
Yes.
They get us feeling like we're going gaga. I'm not saying you're going gaga, but they do.
No, but that was it. That was my point. That message that you sent me,
right.
I was starting to doubt myself. I was starting to think, am I the horrible person?
Did you?
You know, am I the one that's actually not very nice to be around and I can't see it? You know, I'm self-reflecting always because I want to be the best person I can be. And the best person I can be, you know, for me means it's like someone remembers me for being respectful, for being humble, for being kind. So when when I was having a real down day and that message just come out of the blue from you, and I hadn't heard from you for years, always tried to find you, you know, drift apart like you do. And you know, you made my day, Deborah. So I just want you to know that, you know, because I was sitting, you know, maybe gone over, or at some point in your, you know, for what's gone on, what's happened with yourself. I'm pretty sure, you know, as we're speaking about it, as you mentioned, that you sort of think, was I the one? Did I do that? Did I make them feel like rubbish?
Yeah.
But actually, it is them. It is them.
No, it's because they can't. Oh, thank you, Hannah. That really means the world to me, because I messaged you because you meant the world to me with getting through that time. And I think I mentioned to you, I recently met with someone who had been someone bullied at school that I was with. So you very much came to my mind. I thought, oh, Melody was such a blessing to me, and she was, you know, you had the skill of being one of the cool girls, but also friends with the less cool people. Myself.
Yeah, but I don't, you know, it's really weird because I don't remember being the cool girl, and most probably the ones we thought, you know, the ones I thought were the cool girls, most probably never thought they were the cool girls, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lovely movie, I don't know if you've seen it. It's called Romy and Michelle's High School Reunion. Have you ever seen it?
No, it doesn't ring, but no.
Oh, wow.
Is it good?
It's got Phoebe out of Friends in it, and there's another fairly famous actress. And if anyone's listening now, I fully recommend it because it honestly, you have got to watch this. I'm going to make you watch this. It is about bullying.
Oh.
But it's done in such a lovely way. You know, they get bullied, they're wearing braces around their teeth and their clothes, and they're not trendy. Oh. And then they go to a party and they dress like Madonna. Oh, Deborah, you've got to see this.
Dear, really?
And then there's a high school reunion. And so they think they're still dropouts. They haven't got jobs, but they pretend, you know, they borrow a nice fancy car and they get some cheap black suits. And, you know, and they go to the high school reunion and they tell everyone that they invented Post-its. And, you know, it is just about bullying. But the nice ending is these people that were bullied, they end up getting their own shop, being successful. And you know, I think that does happen a lot. You know, on the good side, obviously, a lot of bad things happen to people that have been bullied. And, you know, that's a subject there that, you know, I'm sure we can discuss as well, because, you know, some people I think can come out of bullying, but for a lot of people, it's quite a hard thing to get out of, isn't it?
I think it is, because the sticks and stones theory is sort of a bit rubbish, isn't it? It doesn't really, it's a nice idea, but I think, you know, words do, they can embed in your brain and you can end up believing.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's a saying, if you tell someone something enough, they believe it.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like, I suppose, as part of a bit of like a grooming type of thing, isn't it? Really,
it is. Isn't
it? It's another form. I think that narcissists, in their bullying behaviour, do. They groom people. They tell them, you know, that perhaps they're not worthy of that, or why are you in that job? You can't do that, or you know, perhaps someone might say, "Oh, I'm going to go and do this," and you know, a really good friend in your life will go, do you know what? Go for it. They won't go, well, why are you doing that? Do you think you can do that?
Yeah.
That's already putting self-doubt in your head. Don't do that to people, you know.
No.
Treat people as you want to be treated and with respect. I mean, and maybe it's a bit of a hippie kind of tree-hugging view, you know, and, you know, yeah, okay, while I'm sitting here on my canoe as the rain comes down in the UK, pelting away, maybe I'll hug a tree in a minute. But,
I think you should.
know, I kind of think I have this, I don't know, this utopia in my head that bullying will just be stamped out. It won't exist. But, you know, it is going to go on. There are so many personalities, aren't there, in the whole world?
Yeah.
They're out there. I think the only thing you can do is learn from it, read up on it. If you don't know about it, I guess if you're listening in on this show, you know, and you're stuck in one of those relationships, then, you know, find it in you, talk to a friend. Because another thing about bullying is people don't talk due to fear and embarrassment.
Yep. That's true.
That's another thing. So, you know, if anyone's listening out there and they think, you know, for men even, they can get bullied by other men, by women. Men, I think, obviously, another different, you know, are quite taught to be tough, be strong, and bottle up their emotions.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not all about that at all. We're all human. We've got feelings. And feelings most probably are the worst thing ever, because if we didn't have feelings, none of this would exist, really, would it? You know,
it's funny, isn't it? That's actually quite true. Yeah. Do you know what's coming to
if we couldn't feel pain or touch or taste or, you know, fear, you know, I guess we'd be robots or, I don't know, blow up dolls.
Yeah,
but,
it's true.
You'd find us in the local boutique, maybe down the alleyway. But, you know, but it's...
Something's just entered my
people
head.
Don't talk about it, and that's another thing. You know, no one should feel ashamed or fearful or embarrassed. You know, and I remember feeling like that, Deborah, at college. I do remember feeling like that. I never went home and spoke about it with my family or anything. I can remember the worst times were at home time.
Right.
And I can remember that's where you were going to get chased by bullies.
Oh.
You know, going back to school bullying, I suppose, here. But that's the worst time I can remember most, probably fearing going out that school gate.
Yeah. Actually, I'd forgotten about that. Yes, I remember that as well. I thought, oh, crumbs, who's going to be hanging around?
Mm-hmm. Or if they weren't behind you and you're walking ahead and you turned around and you saw someone, you know, that most probably did pick on you, did give you the funny look, did, as you walked past, called you a weirdo or something, and, you know, made you feel not so good about yourself, and which was no need, obviously. So, those times, but, you know, basically, I just think if anyone is being bullied, you know, they need to talk to someone. Yeah, it's not a nice thing. It can cause so much in adults, in young adults, bullying. It gives, you know, it can make people self-harm.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, they can get eating disorders.
That's true.
There is just, you know, so many sort of things that, you know, bullying can bring out in people, and it can be dealt with. I do believe it can be dealt with. Yeah. But I think it's obviously you've got to get to these people, or they not exactly get to them, but anyone suffering this needs to reach out. You know, there is so much online. You know, I think there's a website. Am I allowed to say it? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Am I allowed to say a website name?
Yes, absolutely. That's fine, hon. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe there's a website name. It's called ditchthelabel.org.
Okay.
And, you know, it's quite helpful. I think it sort of offers a lot of support if anyone's been bullied. But not just this website. There are so many sort of charities now, I think, and things. You know, I think social sort of attitudes are shifting. Do you agree with me?
Yes, I think they are. And I think it's mainly because I think it came to a point where there were so many people being bullied in various different ways that we can't just brush this thing under the carpet anymore. No,
not at all. Not at all. Yeah. And again, the thing that can cause bullying, I find intriguing, say like the media, you know, being one of the culprits, and sort of, you know, any form of social media can also promote not putting up with bullying. You know, you get celebrities and, you know, and there are online support groups and charities. So people can reach out. I think it's getting rid of that fear, that embarrassment and that shame. And I think if you can do that, You can, you've just got to say to yourself, I am worth something. Don't let anyone take your sparkle, as a favourite saying of mine.
That's nice.
And nobody should make you cry, and the one person who does won't make you cry. I love that saying too.
Oh.
So, just a couple of silly sayings that have got me through,
Yeah.
But, I think it's a natural process with bullying, isn't it? You go through anger, you go through a lot of heartache, you suffer alone. But as I said, cannot stress, nobody should suffer alone. There are places online, there are websites that ditchthelabel.org seem very helpful. So, I'm sure that's reachable to people worldwide. So, if you're sitting there, feeling alone, want to self-harm, I don't know, feel you've got shame, you're not eating, think about it. Is this because of what someone's done to you? Then it's time to reach out, because your life, nobody should make, your life, a person's life shouldn't be ended because of someone else's cruel words.
Amen.
Because that's only their opinion, and people have to find it within themselves, I think, to get that self-worth back. But the only way they're going to do it is with good support, family, talk to a stranger, get online. There are telephone numbers, people you can reach out to. So, yeah, sorry, that's me waffling on, Deborah.
Well said. Do you know what?
I'm very passionate about it.
You are. That's brilliant. John, I'm so glad I got in contact with you. That is so well said. What we'll do is we'll have that link on the homepage of my homepage of the of the show.
Do I have the link?
I can put the link on there. Yeah, I think you messaged
you sent me the link. Excuse me. No, you sent me the link, but I'm still having problems getting online with it.
Oh, sorry. No, I mean the what is it? You said that's Ditch the Label. Did you say ditchthelabel.com?
The link to that is yes, it's called Ditch. It's all one word. ditchthelabel.org.
.org. Okay, I'll have the link on the homepage of the show. I'll put that on there.
Absolutely. Head for it. It's just it's kind of, I think, a campaign that I don't know if it's worldwide. It says .org, so it could be. I'm pretty sure maybe it's worldwide.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's just trying to get rid of stigma. Please excuse me coughing. People get bullied for different reasons, disabilities. Homophobia. I don't know, transphobia. People are bullied for all sorts of different reasons. And of course, narcissists, as we know, will just pick on someone for no reason. So it could be anything when you're meeting someone like that. So most probably the worst form of bully is a narcissist, for sure. Yeah,
absolutely. Do you know, what's coming to my head right now is my teacher ex actually said to me when I mentioned about I was bullied horrifically at school. She actually said, "Do you know, if I knew you at school, I probably would have been one of those bullies."
You'd have never been bullied, ever. And do you know what? I was never a bully, and I would die inside. But I'm the one that would stand up in a crowd when no one else would.
Yes, you were.
Even if it meant I got shot, I was just quite passionate about, treat someone how you want to be treated. And maybe a bully wants to be treated like rubbish, but 9.5 times out of 10, whenever you try to go back with a bully with their treatment, you never win.
That's it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what I always admired about you, Melody, that you were always, you wouldn't see anyone go through rubbish, would you? You would always be there to comfort and support them and,
absolutely,
tell them everything was going to be all right. And you haven't changed. And I like that. I didn't think you would have grown into anything nasty.
Thank you, honey. You make, it's lovely. It's so nice to talk to you. It's so lovely. Definitely you're going to come and visit, aren't you? I'm going to take you out on a few wild nights.
I'm looking forward to this. Yes.
Definitely. And we'll be the nicest people anyone can meet. We'll spread the love.
Oh, yeah, we could.
I would love to spread the love. And all we've got to avoid is all these the 4 styles of bullies, haven't we?
The 4 styles, I like that, the 4 styles of bullies. Yeah, I need to research that a bit more, actually, the 4 styles of bullies.
Yeah. Well, I did do, I have done my groundwork. You're putting me on your show. This is a bit special, Deborah. I've got to do the 6 Ps. Am I allowed to say the 6 Ps?
You can say the 6 Ps, yes.
Well, I have to do perfect planning prevents piss poor performance.
Right, say that again.
Otherwise, I'd really waffle. I might be waffling some, but, if I don't plan, you really would get verbal diarrhea. So, I've done my homework, miss.
You talk perfect sense. You're very wise. Just listening to you now, you're very insightful and very wise and compassionate. And that's what
I think you get that way when you've been treated by all the, when you've had bad treatment by other people.
Yeah.
When you haven't been respected and...
Yeah.
I think you can either go one or two ways, as we've discussed. You can perhaps become introvert and, maybe not eat, maybe hurt yourself. Or you can say to yourself, you know what? You're not worth 1 second more in my brain. You're just a tiny little speck on my shoe. You may have thought you could treated me like that. And the only way I'm going to feel better is actually silence is golden. I'm going to walk away with my head high, because you got to just remind yourself you are better than them, because you wouldn't go around treating someone like they do.
No. Oh, well said. I like that. Mm-hmm. You're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, to all these wonderful narcissists out there, they seem to be categorised into 4 categories, which just shows you how kind of, how I suppose prevalent it is that you can put them into 4 categories. It's not like there's even 12, then it doesn't even make them even sound special, a narcissist, does it? They've only got 4 groups to be in.
That's quite
us
true.
Wonderful special people, most probably there's a multitude of groups we're in.
There probably is. But don't you find with, go back to narcissistic lies, most people lie because they need to. Narcissists just lie because they can.
Oh, man. I mean, obviously, my ex, I thought, I didn't used to see much of him at the weekends, and apparently he worked in the Arabian Embassy in London.
Right.
And, I kind of thought, and I said, what are you doing up there? And he said, I'm on the security desk. Well, okay, he's getting paid to do a job, but I think most probably I can imagine this was overnight time. I'm thinking, night time, how many people are coming in and out with their cars, really? London's busy, but I'm sure it's, going to be a flurry. And, on the odd occasion, perhaps if I tried to call him or text him, I never got any return. And I thought, you really, you would have had a second if you, popped to make a cup of tea. If you're where you say you are, well, actually, obviously, what I found out he wasn't. He was living with another woman. Whereas in my life, if I'm ever going to have a relationship, you finish, and I'm not in one, that's brilliant. But if I am in one and I'm not happy, you get out. Yeah. You don't hurt the other person.
No.
There's a big ripple effect goes on, I think, in a lot of lives. You don't realise who hurts who, and it follows on.
Yes, that's right. No, you're absolutely right there. Yeah.
Yeah, how other people treat other people can really, can ruin people's lives.
Yeah.
People really should think twice. Would they like it done to them? But unfortunately, narcissists don't believe it'll ever happen to them.
I don't know whether they don't care or whether they just, if they're unaware. Maybe it's a mixture of the two. Well,
I think my ex, I felt like he was living in a fantasy world. Obviously, there was one time he said he had his van pinched and paid someone £150 to have it burnt out, and excitedly told me they even gave him the keys back. Well, and just in your head, there's just like you can feel. Another thing I'll say is I had that gut feeling.
Yeah.
I would just shout out to anyone who's listening in, when you get that gut feeling, do not ignore it,
Yeah.
Do not ignore it, because that's what I was doing. Anyway, that gut feeling punched me when he said that, and I thought, this sounds like a story. This sounds like a children's bedtime story.
Yeah.
I'm seeing your lips move, and I'm not believing you. So anyway, I did a little bit of psycho stalking and went past his parents' house. I knew where his parents lived. And there was his van. And I thought maybe there might be a reward. Maybe I should phone him up and say, that van that your friends got burnt for you, they've stolen it and replaced it outside your mum and dad's house. And I was like, yeah. I'll come and get the reward. But it's just fabricated stories, isn't it? I mean, I guess you had some.
Well, my relationship before last was only 3 months, but it felt like 3 years. But that was the worst I've ever known of NPD. But she had, it was very strange. She had different lies for different people, but she would create whole scenarios about imaginary friends. But I just knew at this point I had no evidence to even think that, because I found out a lot of this after the relationship had finished, but I had no evidence to prove this, but I just had a gut feeling when she said to me...
A gut feeling?
Yeah. She said to me, do you mind... This, and the voice was very put on. It was like that. Do you mind if I go and see a beard? For a gay woman, a beard is apparently a stand-in boyfriend for where you can't be out. And she said, do you mind if I see him this weekend? And I didn't know at that point that this man didn't exist. As soon as she said that, I thought, she's not doing that. She's meeting someone from the dating site. And I just knew. Wow. But I had no reason to. And sure enough, I believe she did. But you, like you say, gut feeling, and you think, I can't put my finger on why, but something just doesn't sound right, feel right.
That gut feeling is horrible when you get to it as well. It's like a stomach punch, isn't it?
Yes.
You know something's not right. And I think there's that human need. You can't believe it until you see it.
Yes.
Even if someone was to come up and tell you, and the messenger always gets shot, so not a lot of people do. You all, like you say, you find out a lot of things when relationships do end.
Yeah.
You know, even if someone was to come up and tell you, you're still like, it's almost like you have to physically see that person, you know, perhaps, I don't know, cheating with another person, or you know, in my case, my ex said I was never allowed round his because he had really bad mould in his home. And of course,
crazy.
Maybe to me, I was taking it slow, so I thought, oh, that doesn't matter. But obviously, he didn't have mould in his home. He had a partner in his home.
Slight difference.
You know, I'm laughing about it, but the actual pain from the lies, and, you know, it didn't just hit me. Yeah. I'm a grown woman, you know, my poor 13-year-old daughter. She shouldn't have been dragged into his fantasy world, and you know, like you've had your imaginary friends. I mean,
bizarre.
Wow, you know, how people believe that? Like, do they believe what they're saying to you? Is it trying to make themselves more exciting? Are they actually really that insecure that they feel they need to make up stories like imaginary friends? And like in my case, the Iranian embassy, he was working at the weekends when actually he was going home to his partner, and obviously getting his fan pinched. You know, every time I saw him, there was an exciting story.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Yeah, there was always there was always something that made this person the hero. She was always the hero. She'd always be telling stories where she was the hero, or she'd invented something, or even a meme online.
Did you know that is in 11 characteristics, isn't it, of a narcissist, the hero?
Is it really? Yeah.
Yes,
Doesn't
the hero
me.
is in here. I'll read it to you. It's grandiose. I'm going to have to try and pronounce it now.
Grandiosity?
I need to go back to school, but I don't want to go back where your ex works. It's grandosa personality. So it's thinking of oneself as a hero or heroine, a prince or princess, or one-of-a-kind special person. That actually comes as number 8 in a personality trait of the narcissist.
That doesn't surprise me.
So there you go.
Do you know, that doesn't surprise me at all.
The minute you said that word actually stuck in my brain. It was one of the words I just underlined when I was doing a bit of research, when I was covering my 6 Ps of my perfect planning, prevents piss poor performance, of course, Deborah.
Brilliant. Melody, this hour has gone so quickly. Thank you so much for being on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you.
Had some fun. And actually, you know, I feel like we've just had therapy. Well, I have.
It does.
You know,
and
that
it's
was
been
good.
free.
You know, I think you should actually get another job, and I think you should become a shrink because you're such a good listener. You let me waffle.
No, you've taught me a few things. And maybe we ought to go into practice together, couldn't we? We could do that. I could move up to London way, and we could set up practice as being a...
Definitely.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about retraining into counselling.
You'd be brilliant.
You know, I've got quite a bit of passion for a lot of this, and more of the outfall, what it does to people with the eating disorders and the self-harm, you know.
Yeah.
I'm feeling very passionate over that. So
I can see you doing that.
You know, if I can rustle up and get the energy together, I will definitely look into counselling most probably. And I think, you know, just if I can help one person see that they're beautiful inside and out when their life has been touched by a bully or, you know, stroke narcissist, then that would make me so proud of myself.
Oh, that's amazing. You are a beautiful soul. You're a beautiful soul. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much again, hon, and thanks again for
It's been wonderful.
Listen to me.
And we'll catch up. It's been beautiful to talk to you, and I hope whoever does listen to this can draw something from it, and hopefully, if they're sitting at home, we're survivors, aren't we, Deborah?
We are. We are indeed.
We're survivors from a bully, a liar, cheaters, narcissists, and we're here, and life does go on, and you can have fun, and you can laugh, and you can learn to love yourself again. You don't need to sit and suffer, but you do need to reach out. Just pick yourself up, get out of that pit where you feel the world has ended.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much, sweet. And to the listeners, thank you for tuning in. And until next time, lots of love and God bless.